Vikings, a name that conjures images of roaring seas, wind-lashed sails, and fearless warriors storming foreign shores. But who were they, really? Emerging from the icy reaches of Scandinavia in the late 8th century, the Vikings were more than the raiders of legend. They were explorers, traders, and settlers whose influence spanned continents. Far from a monolithic group, the Vikings were a patchwork of cultures and identities. Their journey took them across the British Isles, where Norse traditions mingled with Celtic and Anglo-Saxon ways. In Ireland, Viking-founded cities like Dublin and Waterford became bustling hubs of trade and cultural exchange. In England, the Danelaw fostered a blend of Scandinavian and Anglo-Saxon influences, leaving a mark on the language, laws, and people. Yet their society extended beyond conquest and trade. Vikings maintained intricate familiar structures and were adept farmers and herders, relying on their agricultural skills to survive Scandinavia's challenging climate. Their communities were built on mutual cooperation, with women often handling significant influence in both domestic and economic spheres, a feature that set them apart from many contemporary societies. Imagine the clang of blacksmiths forging tools for settlers, the mingling of languages in vibrant marketplaces, and the intermarriage of Norse and local people, creating a new lineage. These were not isolated raiders, but dynamic agents of change, a people whose adaptability was as fearsome as their battle axes. As their longships carried them to distinct shores, the Vikings left more than rune stones and sagas behind. They left their DNA, woven into the fabric of the lands they touched, and it was far more profound than anyone could have imagined. Viking raiders may have been fleeting, but their genetic impact was long-lasting. Recent studies have unearthed astonishing insights into their far-reaching influence. Could you be walking around with Viking DNA and not even know it? In 2020, a groundbreaking study published in Nature analyzed over 400 Viking-age genomes, revealing a fascinating network of migration and intermarriage. These findings challenged the stereotype of the Vikings as purebred Norsemen. Instead, they were a melting pot, blending with Celtic, Slavic, and even Southern European populations. The British Isles bear some of the deepest marks of Viking ancestry. Up to 6% of the modern UK population carries Scandinavian genetic markers, a sign of the Norse settlers who once called these lands home. In Scotland's Orkney Islands, the Viking footprint is even more pronounced, reflecting centuries of Norse dominance. But their influence wasn't confined to Europe. In Normandy, the Northmen integrated with local populations, creating a lineage still detectable today. In Eastern Europe, the Kievan Rus bear the traces of Norse founders, demonstrating the Vikings' pivotal role in shaping early Russian statehood. Imagine the world as it was, a web of trade routes, cultural exchange, and genetic intermingling. The Vikings were not only warriors, but bridges, connecting distant peoples through their restless wanderlust. Their connections to the world extended even further than most realize. The sagas speak of Vineland, a mysterious land across the Atlantic. Could the Vikings have reached North America long before Columbus? Archaeology answers with a resounding yes. At L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, Norse explorers left behind evidence of their brief but historic presence around 1000 CE. Imagine the sight: timber-framed halls rising against the rugged landscape, blacksmiths crafting iron tools, and the distant sound of waves crashing on uncharted shores. This site, the only confirmed Viking settlement in North America, hints at their audacious reach. But did they leave more than artifacts? The question of genetic exchange with indigenous peoples remain tantalizing. Some theories suggest limited intermingling, though evidence is scarce. Still, the idea that the Vikings might have connected the Old and New Worlds centuries before the Age of Exploration adds another layer to their extraordinary story. Evidence from these settlements indicate that the Vikings had adapted their traditional practices to survive in a new and challenging environment. They relied on local resources like timber and game while maintaining links to their Scandinavian homeland. This adaptability illustrates their ingenuity and determination, qualities that allowed them to endure despite the brevity of their stay. Their brief sojourn into North America was a symbol of their boundless ambition. They didn't just explore, they redefined the limits of the known lands. While their genetic imprint in the New World may be faint, their spirit of discovery remains an indelible part of human history. The Viking Age was not merely about spreading Norse influence. It was also about absorbing and adapting. The idea of the Viking as a homogeneous Scandinavian figure is a myth. Instead, they were more an interconnected web, shaped by centuries of interconnection with diverse peoples. Consider the biology evidence. The study in the scientific journal Nature revealed that Viking DNA included significant contributions from Southern Europe, Central Asia, and the British Isles. Viking communities were hubs of diversity, welcoming individuals from conquered and allied regions into their fold. Archaeological discoveries confirm this. In England's Repton burial site, a mass grave of Viking warriors revealed a surprising mix of Norse and Anglo-Saxon ancestry. These weren't just isolated incidents, they were part of a pattern of integration that defined Viking society. Trade was another driver of diversity. From the Silk Roads of Byzantium to the marketplaces of the Abbasid Caliphate, Viking merchants encountered goods, ideas, and people from across the globe. Artifacts like Arabic coins and Middle Eastern silks found in Scandinavian graves speak to a vibrant exchange that enriched Viking culture and altered the makeup of their genome. The Vikings' openness to new influences was a cornerstone of their success. They weren't just conquerors, they were connectors, weaving a biological and cultural web that stretched far beyond Scandinavia. And this intricate web left threads that we still uncover today. Today, the echoes of the Viking Age can be found in the most unlikely places, even in our DNA. Testing services like 23andMe and Ancestry have unveiled Norse roots in millions of users, connecting the present to a distant past. Could your inherited profile hold a fragment of Viking history? In Iceland, the genetic legacy of the Vikings is particularly vivid. Up to 60% of male Y chromosomes trace back to Norse settlers, while maternal lines reflecting significant contributions from the British Isles. This unique blend tells a story of Viking men and Celtic women who forged a new society in an unforgiving land. Certain traits also point to Viking ancestry. Dupuytren's contracture, often called the Viking disease, is prevalent in areas with strong Norse influence. Even physical characteristics like height and light-colored features can be linked to their heritage. But it's not just about individual traits. Viking migration reshaped the genetic landscapes of entire regions, blending populations and creating a mosaic that persists today. Their DNA is a reminder of a time when everything felt smaller, yet filled with limitless possibilities. It's a thread that connects the past to our present in surprising ways. The Vikings were more than warriors, they were pioneers, connecting the ancient societies through exploration, trade, and cultural exchange. Their ancestral imprint tells a story of adaptability, ambition, and resilience, qualities that still resonate today. To carry Viking DNA is to inherit a fragment of history, a link to an age of boundless curiosity and audacity. But their true imprint lies in their spirit, the courage to venture into the unknown, the openness to embrace new ideas, and the determination to leave a mark on the world. So, whether or not your genes bear their imprint, the Viking story is a reminder of humanity's shared heritage and endless capacity for discovery. In that sense, perhaps we are all modern Vikings, charting our own courses through the seas of time.